Yeah,
good.
not so bad. How are you coping in the lockdown?
The first few weeks have been all right, but everyone's kind of at a wall in our house now. I think the kids want to get back to school, and but it's been like we're out in the countryside anyway, so the vibe out in the country is different than it is in the cities, I guess. You know what I mean? You don't really see many people around anyway. So, but it's just the boredom is the enemy. Hence me coming on your show.
Surely you should be out doing the garden, no?
Someone else does that. What I got married for.
Are you homeschooling?
There was I think ours are still on holiday. There was I had a look at what they were trying to get me to do with them, and to be quite honest, I couldn't even understand the questions, far less the answers. I was just like, this is not for me. As I say to my kids, mate, I went to school 40 years ago, okay? So, crack on with it. The homeschooling thing is not for me.
Fair enough. You could teach them music and sport, couldn't you?
Yeah, well, they're always kicking a ball around in the back garden anyway. I could. I'm pretty rubbish at football, and I'm kind of good at music, but they're only young, my kids, anyway, so they can't really get they can't really get their hands around the guitar at the minute. So, but I guess they just want to get back to school and hang out with their friends and talk about video games, instead of playing them.
Well, talking about boredom, you've been talking about boredom, and we're going to talk about Manchester City, because that's one thing they weren't that season. As far as I see, you might see it differently. Some of the football they played in 2017-18 season was they took football to another level in the Premier League that year.
Yeah, well, after the first season where Guardiola didn't win a trophy for the first time in his career, there was a collective kind of intake of breath between all City fans, and like, well, what's going to happen now? But I hope he doesn't mind me saying this, Pep. I kind of know him a bit now, and I kind of texted him on the eve of I was away on tour. I can't remember where I was, but on the eve of the season, I texted him to wish him good luck with the team and all that. And he told me that night before a ball had been kicked, he said, "We're going to win the league this year, no question." And I was like, okay, whatever, And he was very, very confident. He'd got the players that he wanted in all the positions that he wanted, and he's got that plan that and if you get the right players in the right positions, it's flawless, and it cannot be beaten. So. But I thought the football we played was just jaw-dropping at times. I was watching, one of the good things about the lockdown is you've seen a lot of stuff rerun on Sky and on BT, and I was watching a couple of the old games from that season, and we were just dynamite, just jaw-droppingly good.
Well, they were, City, that season. They were fantastic. And Man United won them the title, which must have made it a little bit more sweet. But they finished 19 points ahead of Manchester United. Was that the best? In the Premier League era, do you think that City side, that 17-18 City side, was that the best we've seen?
I think that season and the season after, where we beat Liverpool on the last day, arguably the season after where Liverpool pushed us all the way, is the better season, because it was right in the balance until the last day, whereas really after we'd gone to Old Trafford the season before and we were 8 points in front and we beat them to go 11 points in front, really most people were thinking, well, they're not going to throw that away. But I would say for sure that the 17-18 season and the 18-19 season it doesn't really get any better than that in terms of football played.
Well, when you consider Liverpool pushed them the year after, and obviously this season as well, you look at that year, City beat Liverpool 5-0. 5-0 at home, which was an unbelievable result. You beat Watford away 6-0. You beat Spurs at home 4-1. You had 83% possession against Swansea. You won that game 5-0. You can go on and on and on. There were so many games that year where Manchester City, you just couldn't touch them. Nobody could get the ball off them.
Well, to go back to the beginning, the game against Liverpool, the scoreline's a bit misleading because they went down to 10 men and then we just annihilated them. The Watford away, I was at that game, and that was both halves were astonishing. I was at the Tottenham game as well at the Etihad, where Tottenham, they committed a few dirty fouls that day. Like Kane could have got sent off and Dele Alli could have got sent off for a terrible tackle on De Bruyne. And he picked himself up with the free kick, dusted himself off, ran about 40 yards into the pitch and smashed one in the top corner in the pouring rain. And it was just like, man, that was just far out, you know. It's just like we were just so... We had trounced everybody. Anybody that came near to us got battered. It was, you know, you're kind of sitting in that stadium watching these balls being passed around and thinking, you know, it comes to the killer pass that De Bruyne usually puts on a plate for someone, thinking, who even sees that? You can't even see it from up here, far less down on the pitch. But it wasn't exciting as the year after, because we won it with about 34 games to go. You know what I mean?
Well, you won it by now. 2 years ago today, I was at that Watford game as well, the 6-0 and the away game, and I actually thought Watford didn't play too badly, but City were just so good. And you're right, in both halves, they didn't let up. It was amazing. Could have even got into double figures. But what about this season and where we're at now? Because Liverpool on 82 points, 9 games to go, on course to beat that 100-point record that City have got. I mean, have you got any thoughts on how or if the season should end?
Personally, I think it should be voided and they should give the trophy to Liverpool. Well, they've won it anyway. Yeah. You know, they should give it to them, and I think they should just start planning for next season now, because this is going to go on. And football's all about the fans. I don't agree with playing games behind closed doors. I don't care if there's 6 games on a day and I'm sitting at home and watching it. I mean, of course, it will make the lockdown a bit better. But games behind closed doors, they're not even that good to watch. You know what I mean? And people will turn up. You know, all my mates who are City fans were saying, if they start playing games behind closed doors, we're going. You know, so people are going to go there. It could cause more trouble than it's worth. But I think the authorities should start thinking about next season now, and about whether they play next season with limited fans in and with the social distancing in the stadium and all that. But I mean, Liverpool have won the league. You know, they might as well give it to them.
Right.
So the only thing I guess would stop them doing that is relegation and promotion from the other leagues. But in City's case, you know, we lost 4 big players, and at the start of the season we lost Laporte, who's only just come back. He's out again now. Sane's not kicked a ball, probably Charity Shield. We let Vinny go and didn't replace him, and then we lost Fernandinho because he had to play in defence. Now, I mean, City's squad has coped quite good, actually. If you're saying we get into the quarterfinals of the Champions League or wherever we were in that, and winning the League Cup, probably going to win the FA Cup. We've done all right, but you can't lose 4 players like that. Sane was a game changer, a game winner. You know, Laporte, one of the best defenders in Europe. Vinny, you know, the legend, and Fernandinho's just that guy. I mean, he's going to play till he's about 70, I reckon.
No, I'm going to ask you about Sane, because I got that written down, because that season, 2017, he was outstanding, wasn't he, for Manchester City? And there has been rumours about him before he got that injury, whether he's going to be at the club. If Pep can persuade him to stay and he can get back to the form he showed that season, wow, he is a player, isn't he?
Well, when you've got Sterling on one wing and Sane on the other, you know, the night last season where we played Liverpool at the Etihad, we had to win that game, and it goes to 1-1. And Sane scores that goal. I mean, we've missed that all season. There's been games where they've just drifted away from us, and you need that one guy to come off the bench and do it. And I mean, we adore Leroy up there. He's one of my favourite players. He's a great kid. I think he'll stay. I mean, the injury was pretty bad, but, you know, I mean, he's going to come back. I mean, I think he'll stay. I mean, can Bayern Munich afford him anyway? You know, he's 150 million quid. That's a starting price.
It's a good question. His future is in the balance. It's been such a shame he's been out all season. I've got to ask you about music. We are doing, every Friday at 5 o'clock, we do a top 5, and it's musical based. So we did Beatles a couple of weeks ago. We did Elvis on Friday. We are doing Oasis this Friday.
Right.
Yeah, we are. Have you got a top 5 or a top 3 or a favourite Oasis song?
Okay, well, Don't Look Back in Anger and Wonderwall would be number 1 and number 2, I guess, for most people, depending on how you remember it. But for me, let me see, top 5. Don't Look Back in Anger, Supersonic, Rock and Roll Star, The Master Plan, and Half the World Away, the one from the Royal Family. But I'd say we've got about 12 all-time classics, I think, so picking 5 is pretty difficult.
Well, they're all pretty good. Champagne Supernova I loved as well.
Yeah, very well, yeah. Somebody was asking me about that the other night. How did I write that song? And I was like, you know what, mate, I cannot remember, but I remember I was absolutely hammered on champagne.
It all makes sense.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Well,
What's the first thing you want to do when this virus loosens its grip? What are you missing?
I'm missing the football. I'm terribly missing. If in some parallel universe the league was still going on, the Champions League, it wouldn't be so bad for a fella, right? Women don't cope very well with lockdown, right? Like guys, it's kind of made for us. You know what I mean? We're like, well, I can't leave the house by law. Okay, well that'll do me. But I think the first thing I'd like to do is just hook up with all my mates, you know what I mean, and just I don't know, just go out for a long boozy lunch. That would be the best thing, I think.
Oh yeah, missed that boozy lunch, perfect.
Yeah. But I tell you what, I tell you what I've enjoyed is watching the reruns of the Cricket World Cup, which I was away for it at the time, and I remember the game and the fallout of the game afterwards and all that. But I don't think I'd ever seen the final. I had it on the other day all day. It was on for 8 hours of the day, so I kind of put it on. And the last half an hour was mental.
Oh, mental. Absolute mental, yeah.
And
I didn't know you were into cricket.
I've never played it. I couldn't. I mean, I like watching the Ashes and the like the big games and the World Cup final and all that kind of thing. I'm not. Although I did go to Lord's once when England hadn't beat Australia at Lord's for 130 years or something, and I just happened to be there that day. I don't even know what I was doing there. But I don't mind it. I'm not an avid watcher of it. I don't know any of the cricketers' names apart from like like when all of the players that play in the World Cup final. I was thinking, who's the Irish guy? What's he doing playing for England? And but it was mad to watch the last half an hour. It was crazy.
I've got another one on music, because I know you had to postpone a few gigs with the High Flying Birds. Is there anything in place for when this virus disappears about playing live?
Well, there's a teenage cancer thing at the Albert Hall. I'm not sure when that's going to be rescheduled for. And then, I mean, not that I know, not that because once you cancel the gigs, when the music business starts up again, people will have booked to the venue you were going to play in September and October, so it'd be difficult to get back into them. But I think the biggest thing is Glastonbury being cancelled. That was when we, as a group of friends, all knew that it was serious if they're going to cancel Glastonbury. But hopefully I'll be doing. So I'm not sure yet. Nothing has been set in stone. Let's put it that way.
Do you do much writing while you've been in lockdown? Have you got the patience to do it in lockdown, or do you need to?
No, the first 2 weeks I wrote like a demon, and all the kind of songs that I was half finished. I did them all in a couple of weeks, but even that, it's like the novelty of that wears off after a while. You're just like, I can't be bothered writing. I'm just, you can't even get anything to rhyme with virus. You know what I mean? And So I did a bit, but not too much. But now the weather's picked up, I'm just kind of sitting in the back garden listening to you lot, really, most of the time.
Well, wireless.
Well, the wireless,
virus and wireless.
Yeah.
There you go.
No, I do listen. I do listen to the show every day, actually. It's you're doing an admirable job trying to keep a radio show going with no news happening at all.
We're going back onto the old. We know what we're going to do, mate. We did the '85 snooker final. I don't know if you heard that show, which was brilliant. I mean, when you go back and watch some of the things that happened of yesteryear, it's some amazing events. I want to do that Taylor Barneville 2007 darts final. Absolute classic.
Mental. I watched that as well. That was a mad night. I'm not even a darts fan, but for some reason I was sat watching it that night, and it was great. But I listened to the show when Dennis Taylor was on, and he was talking about that. We was talking about that night. Was that the night you're on about?
Yep.
Yeah,
that was the one.
And what a match that was! I remember my old fella at the time nearly took out the lamp in the middle of the room when he won. It was a great night. But I guess all these sporting things that have happened in the past, because you kind of the fallout lasts a day and then you're on to the next story that breaks. You don't really get time to sit and go, wow, that was amazing. Another one you should relive is the Germany battering Brazil 7-2 in that World Cup semi-final or whatever it was, quarter-final.
Did we do that? We did that.
We did it. We've done it, mate.
We have done that.
Oh, we did it. It was brilliant. Yeah, we did that. Yeah.
Oh, I must have missed that one. That was a mad game of football.
There's been so many. Listen, we're going to have to leave it there. It's been great to talk to you. I hope you and yours stay well, Noel, throughout all this crisis.
Yeah. So you too.
Yeah, good luck, mate.
Appreciate you listening. Appreciate you coming on. Thank you very much. Noel Gallagher with us live on Drive on TalkSport.